The sky above Earth shimmered with a strange, silvery light, a sign of the massive vessel descending from orbit. People all over the city stopped what they were doing, staring at the gleaming ship that hovered silently, its surface reflecting the sun in patterns humans had never seen. The vessel's design was elegant, almost organic, with flowing lines and sharp points that made it look like a creature from another world. Rumors had spread for weeks about the arrival of Princess Lyra, a member of the galactic aristocracy from a civilization far beyond human understanding. Now she had arrived, and the world held its breath. On the ground, Captain Jason Kane adjusted the straps of his tactical vest and scanned the area. He had seen many crises in his career, but this was different. This was not about war or disaster. This was about diplomacy and perception. Lyra was coming to see humans, and she had made it clear that she had already decided we were weak. Jason had a quiet confidence, but he knew he had to be ready for anything. The landing area had been cleared for security. Media drones hovered in the air, capturing every moment for a curious public. Security forces from around the world stood in formation, their faces serious. As the ship's door opened with a hiss of energy, a figure emerged. Princess Lyra was taller than most humans, her skin a luminous shade of pale silver that seemed to glow faintly under the sun. Her eyes were a striking violet, intelligent and sharp, and her posture radiated power. Her flowing robes shimmered like liquid metal, emphasizing the alien elegance that humans could only attempt to describe. She stepped forward, her voice melodious but laced with condescension. "Greetings, humans," she said, each word deliberate as if savoring the impression it would leave. "I have come to see your so-called civilization. I am eager to witness the strength that your species boasts." There was a ripple of unease among the crowd. Some felt excitement, others discomfort. Her words were polite, yet the tone made it clear she considered them inferior. Jason's jaw tightened slightly. He did not speak immediately. Instead, he observed. He had learned long ago that patience often revealed more than words could. A series of demonstrations had been arranged to honor the princess. Her entourage suggested various tests of human skill, each designed to showcase how limited humans were compared to her people. Princess Lyra walked among the stations, her gaze scanning everything with a critical eye. She paused at the first, a simple physical test where humans were supposed to show strength and agility. Soldiers attempted the tasks, but the alien devices were calibrated for beings far stronger than humans. Lyra's smile was cool, almost amused. "Predictable," she said, her voice carrying across the training ground. "You humans are fragile. I expected more. Even children of my planet could perform better." The words stung, but Jason did not flinch. He watched the princess carefully, noting her body language, her slight smirk, the confidence she radiated. She believed in her superiority, and that belief was her armor, but he also saw a hint of curiosity in her eyes, something unspoken that suggested she noticed the unexpected moments when humans succeeded. The next demonstration was one of intelligence and strategy. Small drones presented complex navigation challenges, and humans were expected to fail against algorithms designed by alien minds. The room was silent, the tension palpable. Jason led a small team, organizing them quickly, finding ways to use the environment and the drone's own patterns to their advantage. The humans did not move as quickly as Lyra would have liked, nor with the precision of alien calculation, but they adapted. They improvised, solved problems creatively, and worked together in ways that the princess did not anticipate. Lyra's violet eyes narrowed slightly. "Interesting," she said softly, almost to herself. She did not often encounter beings that forced her to think beyond her initial assumptions. Yet she did not reveal too much. Her pride demanded composure. She smiled again, this time with an edge of calculation. Finally, the princess demanded a public demonstration of combat skill. She expected to see humans overwhelmed, crushed easily by her designs and tactics. Jason stepped forward to represent humanity. The arena was a mixture of alien technology and human adaptation, a space that tested strength, strategy, and endurance. Lyra watched, her expression unreadable, as the first exchanges began. Jason moved differently from the aliens. He was not stronger, not faster, but he understood the value of unpredictability. He dodged attacks in ways that seemed illogical, lured opponents into positions where their own power became a weakness, and protected his team with a calm authority. Lyra's eyes widened subtly as she noted these actions. Humans had creativity, resilience, and intuition. They were chaotic in a way that her civilization had never mastered. The demonstration ended ambiguously. Humans were not dominant, but they were far from defeated. Jason helped his team rise, keeping a neutral expression while Lyra's gaze lingered on him. For the first time, she faced a being who did not fit her preconceived notions. The princess had mocked humans as weak, yet here they stood, alive, adaptable, and unbroken. After the demonstration, the princess withdrew to her private quarters aboard the vessel. Jason remained in the arena, observing quietly. He understood that this was only the beginning. Lyra's pride was immense, but so was her curiosity. The story of humanity would unfold not in a single test, but in how they responded to challenges, threats, and the unexpected. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the arena, Jason reflected on the resilience of his species. Humans had survived wars, disasters, and countless hardships. They were not the strongest physically, nor the most technologically advanced in the galaxy, but they possessed something that could not be measured by tests alone: courage, ingenuity, and unity. These were human strengths, and he knew that in time Princess Lyra would see it too. Around him, the city buzzed with whispers and speculation. Children mimicked the humans' movements in the arena. Adults debated the aliens' intentions, and media drones captured every reaction. Yet Jason remained focused. He understood that the princess's opinion could shape humanity's place in the stars. This was more than a demonstration. It was a test of perception, a battle of belief. As night fell, the lights from the alien vessel reflected across the city like silver rain. Princess Lyra watched her own reports, noting the humans' resourcefulness with a mixture of irritation and intrigue. She had mocked them as weak, yet they had defied expectation. The seed of doubt had been planted, though she would not admit it to anyone, not yet. Jason returned to his quarters, preparing for the next day's events. He knew there would be more tests, more challenges, and perhaps dangers he could not yet foresee. Yet he felt confident, not in arrogance, but in a deep understanding of what humans could do when pushed to their limits. The princess may have come to belittle them, but she would leave with a very different impression. And for the first time, Princess Lyra's calm, perfect confidence began to show tiny cracks. She had expected weakness, simplicity, and obedience. What she saw instead was determination, intelligence, and courage, the unpredictable qualities that defined humans. The galaxy outside might have seen humans as insignificant, but Captain Jason Kane knew otherwise. And soon the princess would have to learn it too. The morning sun rose over the city with a golden glow, casting long shadows across the training grounds. Princess Lyra's ship floated above, its silver surface gleaming as if reflecting her pride. The events of yesterday had left her intrigued, though she would never admit it. The humans had shown unexpected skill and resilience, but she was determined to prove once and for all that they were inferior. Jason Kane arrived early, as always. He had reviewed the schedules and prepared his team for the day's challenges. Lyra's entourage had devised a series of tests, each meant to expose human weaknesses. Jason knew that they would be difficult, but he also knew that humans had one advantage that aliens often overlooked: adaptability. The first test was a complex obstacle course, designed to challenge physical strength and agility. Platforms floated in midair, energy barriers shifted unpredictably, and artificial gravity fluctuated in certain zones. The aliens who had trained on this course could move effortlessly, but humans would have to think creatively to navigate it. Jason looked at his team, reading their faces. They were nervous but determined. "Remember," he said, "we may not be the strongest, but we are clever. Look for patterns, work together, and don't panic." The soldiers nodded. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and today would be no different. The test began. Alien trainers timed the participants and recorded every movement with precision instruments. Humans struggled at first, faltering on shifting platforms and misjudging energy fields. Lyra watched from above, her violet eyes cool and calculating, a faint smirk on her lips. "Pathetic," she whispered. "Even children of my world would not make these mistakes." But Jason's team refused to give up. They adapted quickly, using ropes, poles, and even each other's momentum to overcome obstacles. Jason led by example, leaping across gaps and guiding his teammates through the shifting barriers. Where the aliens relied on pure strength and precision, Humans relied on creativity, intuition, and cooperation. Lyra's expression began to change subtly. She frowned as she watched a human soldier swing across a gap using nothing but a rope and timing, landing perfectly despite the odds. Another soldier found a hidden shortcut by observing the patterns of the shifting platforms. These were not the movements of a weak species. They were resourceful, clever, and fearless. The obstacle course ended with Jason helping a teammate up a final tall platform. Humans had completed it, not as quickly or flawlessly as the aliens, but they had succeeded where failure was expected. Lyra's mind raced, though she hid her surprise. She could not allow herself to acknowledge it fully, not yet. Next came the intelligence and strategy tests. Aliens had prepared intricate puzzles, complex navigation tasks, and simulations requiring quick decision-making. The humans approached them cautiously, knowing their strength lay not in speed but in observation and clever problem-solving. Jason organized the team into smaller groups. Split the tasks, he instructed. Watch each other's moves. Use what you see to find solutions. The humans worked together, sharing ideas and learning from mistakes. They adapted quickly when one approach failed, using creativity to find alternative solutions. Lyra watched with growing curiosity. Humans were supposed to fail these tests outright, but they kept finding ways to succeed. They thought differently, not bound by rigid rules or logic alone. They improvised, combined methods in unexpected ways, and refused to give up even when the simulations became difficult. Interesting, Lyra murmured. She tilted her head, studying them more closely. It was not just that they were surviving the tests, it was how they were doing it. They relied on each other, they thought ahead, and they never let fear paralyze them. These were qualities her civilization respected, but she rarely saw them in beings so physically limited. After the strategy exercises, Lyra arranged a test of courage and resourcefulness. A simulated crisis was created. A section of the training ground would collapse under a projected hazard, forcing the participants to rescue virtual hostages while navigating dangers. The aliens considered it trivial. Humans were expected to panic and fail. Jason immediately took command. Stay calm, observe, and work together, he instructed. Humans spread out, covering each other and carefully moving through the hazards. They improvised with what they had, using simple tools to bridge gaps, create shields, and guide the virtual hostages to safety. Lyra's smirk faded. She had underestimated them. Her mind, trained to measure strength in raw power and technology, struggled to account for these humans. They were not faster, stronger, or better armed, yet they moved with confidence, making split-second decisions that even some of her guards would not have considered. One moment, in particular, caught her attention. A young soldier found himself trapped on a platform as simulated energy beams closed in. Instead of panicking, he used a reflective panel from the surroundings to redirect the beams, creating a safe path for himself and others. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. The human had turned weakness into an advantage. By the end of the day, the humans had completed all tests. They were tired, some bruised, and far from perfect, but they had succeeded in ways Lyra had not predicted. Her pride would not let her admit it openly, but the seed of doubt had been planted. These humans were clever, resilient, and fearless in ways her calculations had never accounted for. Jason observed her from a distance, noticing the slight shift in her posture. They are learning, he thought, and so are you. The humans had not only met the challenges, they had exceeded expectations by using what aliens often overlooked: heart, creativity, and determination. In a private chamber aboard her ship, Lyra reflected on the day. She had expected an easy triumph, a chance to humiliate a weaker species. Instead, she had witnessed ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. Her people measured value by raw ability and advanced technology, yet humans had shown qualities that could not be quantified. She frowned, turning away from the window. She had thought strength was everything, but these humans, physically inferior, technologically behind and yet undaunted, were something different. They were unpredictable. They were resourceful. They were alive in a way that challenged her assumptions. Meanwhile, Jason gathered his team for a debrief. Good work today, he said simply. We adapted. We used what we had. That is what makes us strong. The team nodded, tired but proud. They knew they had done more than survive. They had proven something to an alien civilization that had doubted their value. The day ended with the city lights reflecting on the alien vessel above. Lyra continued to study her reports, her thoughts restless. She had mocked humans as weak, yet every test had revealed a strength she could not easily dismiss. Her pride demanded that she maintain composure, but privately, she began to question her assumptions. Jason, too, reflected quietly. He knew the real challenges were still ahead. The tests had shown human ingenuity and courage, but the future would bring situations where these qualities would be tested in ways the princess could not anticipate. Humans had strengths that went beyond technology or brute force. They had resilience, creativity, and unity, and that could make all the difference. As the night deepened, the city settled into quiet anticipation. The humans had survived the first round, and the princess had begun to realize that her expectations might have been wrong, yet neither side fully understood the true scope of what was to come. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and dangers, but humans had already shown that they could face the impossible with courage and intelligence. Lyra stared at the Earth below, a planet that seemed fragile in comparison to her own world, yet full of something precious she had not expected to find. Strength was not always about size or technology. Humans possessed a strength of spirit, and she had witnessed it firsthand. Tomorrow would bring new tests, and she would be watching closely, her pride and curiosity locked in quiet tension. Jason slept lightly, knowing that the next day would demand more. Humans had survived because they had adapted, observed, and refused to be broken. They had turned apparent weakness into a weapon of ingenuity. That knowledge gave him confidence. The princess had come to belittle them, but her beliefs were beginning to change even if she did not yet realize it. In the quiet of the night, above the city, the alien ship glimmered like a silver sentinel. Inside, Princess Lyra studied her reports again, aware of a growing unease. On the ground, Captain Jason Kane reflected on the day's triumphs. Knowing that humanity's true strengths went far beyond what could be measured in any test. The first round was over, but the story had only begun. The morning was quiet at first, almost peaceful, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The humans had proven their ingenuity and courage in the tests, and Princess Lyra had spent hours reviewing her observations. Her pride remained intact, though subtle doubts had begun to creep into her mind. She did not yet know that today would challenge not only the humans but her entire worldview. Jason Kane arrived early, as always. He noticed unusual readings on the city's security sensors. Something was approaching from orbit, but the scans were chaotic, unfamiliar. The alien advisors on the ship called it a rogue faction, a group of aliens from a distant system with unclear motives. Their approach was aggressive, and the sensors indicated they intended to disable the diplomatic gathering. Princess Lyra's usual calm composure was shaken for the first time. Her violet eyes narrowed as she studied the threat. Her guards, advanced and skilled, began activating defense systems. Shields glimmered and energy fields hummed, but even as she prepared, she realized the attackers were unpredictable, using strategies her people had rarely seen. Jason did not wait for orders. He quickly assessed the situation and organized human personnel. Civilians, though untrained for combat, were guided to safe positions. Human soldiers coordinated with precision, forming defensive lines, using barricades, and improvising with what they had at hand. They were outmatched in raw technology, but they were united, adaptable, and fearless. The first wave of attackers struck. Ships and drones moved swiftly, attempting to disable security nodes and overwhelm defenses. Lyra's guards responded, but their tactics were designed for straightforward engagement, not the unpredictable improvisation of humans. Jason directed his team to use the environment. Collapsed structures became cover, vehicles were turned into obstacles, and energy fields were used to funnel enemies into traps. Lyra watched in disbelief. Humans, who she had deemed weak, were controlling the flow of battle with a skill that rivaled her own elite guards. Every decision Jason made was calculated but adaptable, turning apparent disadvantage into advantage. It was not strength alone that was guiding them. It was ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. One of the rogue drones targeted a group of civilians near the edge of the city. Jason acted without hesitation. He sprinted forward, using a makeshift shield to block the blast and pull civilians to safety. He coordinated with other soldiers to guide people out of harm's way. while simultaneously keeping the attackers off balance. Lyra's eyes widened as she witnessed him, seeing in real time the leadership and bravery she had dismissed in humans before. The attackers grew more aggressive, adjusting their approach as humans thwarted their initial plans. Yet humans adapted faster, using unexpected maneuvers and improvisations. A civilian engineer had discovered a way to overload one of the enemy drones using a simple circuit trick. Another group lured a drone into a narrow alley where its size became a weakness. Each success, though small individually, compounded into a larger effect, gradually tipping the battle in humanity's favor. Lyra's mind raced. She had always believed that strength and advanced technology were the ultimate measures of superiority. Yet humans, physically limited and technologically behind, were controlling the battlefield through creativity, courage, and relentless determination. She felt a strange mixture of irritation and admiration, though she refused to admit it openly. Pride held her back, but curiosity gnawed at her thoughts. Jason's team faced a critical moment when a group of rogue attackers breached the central plaza. Their firepower was overwhelming, and human defenses seemed about to collapse. Jason made a split-second decision. "Use the energy fields to your advantage," he shouted. "Force them into the choke points! Protect the civilians at all costs." Soldiers moved with precision following Jason's orders. The attackers, expecting predictable resistance, were caught off guard by the humans' adaptive strategies. Some were funneled into energy traps. Others were neutralized through quick thinking and teamwork. Lyra observed closely, astonished. Humans were not simply surviving. They were actively shaping the outcome of the battle through courage and ingenuity. During the chaos, one human soldier risked himself to save a young child trapped under debris. Lyra's guards prepared to intervene, but Jason stopped them. The soldier lifted the debris with his hands, showing no hesitation. This act of bravery, small yet profound, struck Lyra deeply. Her mind struggled to reconcile her preconceived notions with the reality she was witnessing. Humans were not weak, they were fearless, compassionate, and creative. By midday, the tide of battle had shifted. The rogue faction, surprised by the humans' resourcefulness, began to retreat. Their attacks faltered against a combination of human ingenuity and the alien security measures still in place. Jason coordinated the final defense, ensuring that civilians were safe and that the remaining attackers were neutralized with minimal casualties. Lyra stepped forward as the last of the rogue drones were deactivated. She had remained on the sidelines observing, and now she could no longer hide her astonishment. The humans had not only survived, they had led the defense, saved alien and human lives alike, and turned a dire situation into a demonstration of unexpected strength. She looked directly at Jason Kane. In his eyes, she saw calm determination, intelligence, and unwavering courage. Her mind, trained to measure strength by raw power and technology, was forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Humans possessed qualities that could not be calculated or predicted. They were resilient, adaptable, and unyielding in the face of danger. Jason approached Lyra as the city began to calm, his uniform scorched and dirtied, but his posture upright. "The danger's over," he said simply. "Everyone is safe. Your guards did well, but humans adapted when it mattered most." Lyra's usual composure faltered slightly. She hesitated, searching for words. Pride battled curiosity, but she could not dismiss the truth. Your people, they are different than I believed," she admitted, her voice measured but tinged with awe. Jason nodded. "Humans may not be the strongest physically, and we may not have the most advanced technology, but we survive. We adapt, we work together. That is our strength." Lyra looked at the city below, the humans moving among the debris, helping civilians, repairing damage, and organizing support. She realized that she had judged an entire species by narrow measures. Strength was not just about power. It was about heart, mind, and spirit. Humans had all three in abundance. The princess turned away, her mind swirling with new understanding. She had come to belittle humans, to confirm her assumptions, yet she had witnessed something far greater: courage, creativity, and compassion that rivaled even the most elite members of her own civilization. Jason walked among his team, offering quiet words of praise. They had faced overwhelming odds and had not only survived, they had saved lives and demonstrated humanity's greatest qualities. The battle had been a test unlike any other, and humans had risen to it with intelligence, unity, and unshakable courage. As night fell, the city settled into an uneasy calm. The alien ship hovered above, reflecting the lights below like a silent observer. Princess Lyra remained inside, contemplating the day's events. She had mocked humans as weak, yet they had shattered her expectations. The rogue attackers had shown her what humans could do under pressure, and she could not ignore the reality. Jason looked up at the ship, aware of the eyes watching from above. Humans had faced a real threat today, and they had succeeded through ingenuity, bravery, and unity. The princess had begun to see them in a new light, though she would not yet admit it openly. That recognition, quiet and unspoken, was a victory in itself. In the silence of the night, both humans and aliens processed what had happened. Humans had proven that strength was not measured by size, power, or technology alone. It was measured by courage, adaptability, and the willingness to protect others against impossible odds. Princess Lyra sat alone, her pride tempered by a growing awareness. She had come expecting weakness, yet she had witnessed extraordinary strength. Her beliefs were shifting slowly but unmistakably, and she knew that the humans she had underestimated were something entirely different from what she had imagined. Jason slept lightly that night, confident that humanity's true strengths had been revealed. They had faced a real crisis and risen to the occasion. The princess had watched, and she had seen the heart of humanity, the courage, ingenuity, and resilience that defined them. The galaxy beyond was vast and full of challenges, but humans had shown they could meet them, not through brute force, but through intelligence, unity, and courage. And somewhere above, Princess Lyra's understanding of humans had begun to change forever. The first test of survival had ended. The humans had triumphed, and Princess Lyra would never see them as weak again. The next morning the city was quiet, almost as if it had paused to catch its breath. Yesterday's events had left lasting impressions on both humans and aliens. Princess Lyra's pride had been tempered by the courage and ingenuity of the human defenders, but she remained determined to understand the limits of their abilities. Her curiosity had shifted into a personal challenge, one that no demonstration or simulation could replicate. Jason Kane, as always, arrived early. He had spent the night reviewing reports and assessing readiness. He knew the princess would want to test him directly, and he welcomed it. Humans had already proven their ingenuity, courage, and teamwork, but this would be a different kind of challenge. Personal, focused, and symbolic. Lyra's invitation arrived swiftly, carried by one of her attendants. She requested a one-on-one demonstration of combat skill between her and Captain Kane. The tone was formal but edged with a challenge. She would test him not just physically but mentally, to see whether humans could match an elite alien warrior in skill, strategy, and heart. The arena was prepared, a mix of alien technology and environmental challenges designed to push participants to their limits. Platforms shifted, energy fields pulsed unpredictably, and gravity fluctuated in sections. It was designed for beings like Lyra, agile, strong, and trained from birth in combat. Humans, she assumed, would be at a disadvantage. Jason stepped into the arena, scanning the surroundings. His approach was calm, controlled. He understood that strength alone would not win this challenge. Humans excelled in creativity, adaptability, and intuition, qualities that could turn even an overwhelming situation in their favor. Lyra entered gracefully, her silver skin gleaming in the artificial light, robes flowing like liquid metal. She stood tall and poised, her violet eyes fixed on Jason. "Are you prepared to face me, human?" she asked, her voice both curious and commanding. Jason nodded. "I'm ready," he replied simply. There was no arrogance, only focus. He knew that this duel was about more than physical skill. It was about demonstrating the human spirit, intelligence, and courage. The duel began with a flash of light. Lyra moved with fluid precision, striking with speed and power that would have overwhelmed most opponents. Jason dodged and parried as best he could, relying on timing, observation, and improvisation. He could not match her raw strength, but he could anticipate patterns, use the arena's features, and create opportunities in the chaos. Lyra's attacks were swift, a mixture of martial skill and energy projection. Jason blocked and deflected, sometimes narrowly escaping, but he used each movement to study her technique. He noticed small habits, predictable sequences in the way her energy pulses shifted in certain attacks. Each observation allowed him to plan his next move, not with brute force but with strategy. The audience watched silently, captivated by the display. Humans had never faced combat like this before, and even some of the alien advisors leaned forward in fascination. Jason's movements were unconventional, unpredictable, and clever. Where Lyra relied on superior strength, he relied on calculation, timing, and ingenuity. He used the arena itself as a weapon, leveraging floating platforms, energy fields, and even his own momentum to create advantages. Lyra paused for a moment, studying him closely. "You are clever," she admitted, her voice low. Pride and curiosity battled within her. She had underestimated humans before, but Jason's strategy and calm under pressure forced her to reconsider. Strength was not everything. Intelligence, creativity, and courage could overcome even the most formidable power. The duel intensified. Lyra launched a series of rapid attacks, testing Jason's endurance and adaptability. He dodged, parried, and countered in ways that were unconventional, even by human standards. One moment, he used a reflective energy panel to redirect a pulse, striking a floating platform that destabilized her footing. Another moment, he timed a leap perfectly to avoid a blast and position himself advantageously. The crowd gasped as the duel became more intense, each move highlighting human resilience and ingenuity. Jason's strength was not in overpowering Lyra, but in observing, improvising, and staying calm under pressure. Each moment he survived, each counter he executed, revealed a deeper layer of human capability that Lyra had never expected. Lyra's eyes widened as she realized that Jason's movements were not merely reactive, they were predictive. He anticipated her actions, used the environment creatively, and protected himself and others in ways that required more than strength. He demonstrated qualities that her own people valued, but rarely exhibited so fully: intelligence, courage, and selflessness. In a critical moment, Lyra attempted a powerful strike designed to end the duel. Jason, observing her pattern, leapt to a raised platform, redirecting the strike with a combination of momentum and strategy. He did not attack aggressively. Instead, he created a situation where her power became a limitation. Lyra stumbled slightly, surprised by the human's ingenuity. Jason took a calm step forward, offering a hand of respect. "Strength is not only about power," he said. "It is about courage, intelligence, and knowing when to act. Humans may not be the strongest, but we endure and adapt." Lyra looked at his hand, her mind struggling to reconcile what she had witnessed. Her pride resisted, but the truth was undeniable. Humans possessed qualities that could rival even the most elite of her people. She hesitated, then accepted the gesture, a silent acknowledgement of the lesson Jason had imparted. The duel ended not with a single victor, but with mutual respect. Lyra stepped back, breathing evenly, her posture slightly relaxed. She had expected to dominate effortlessly, but instead, she had faced an opponent who challenged her assumptions and expanded her understanding. Jason's team, watching from the sidelines, erupted quietly in appreciation. They had seen their captain embody the qualities that made humans exceptional: courage, intelligence, adaptability, and honor. The duel was more than a test of combat. It was a demonstration of humanity itself. Lyra approached Jason afterward, her expression unreadable, but her eyes thoughtful. "I underestimated your species," she admitted softly. "Strength is more than I realized. Courage, ingenuity, and unity. These are your true weapons," Jason nodded. "And you have seen them in action. Humans survive because we adapt, we protect each other, and we never give up." He smiled faintly. Sometimes strength is not about winning in a single strike, but in enduring and finding solutions others overlook. The princess regarded him silently for a moment, then nodded. The lesson was clear. Humans were not weak. They were resilient, clever, and honorable. Their spirit could challenge assumptions and redefine expectations. She had come seeking weakness, but instead, she had encountered something far more profound. Later, as the arena emptied and the city returned to normal, Lyra reflected privately. Her beliefs about humans had shifted fundamentally. She had mocked them as weak, but now she understood that their strength was not measured by raw power or advanced technology. Humans possessed courage, creativity, and integrity. the qualities that truly mattered in the galaxy. Jason returned to his quarters, calm but satisfied. The duel had been symbolic, yes, but it had also been a real test of human qualities. Humans had survived, adapted, and demonstrated honor in the face of overwhelming odds. The princess had learned a lesson she would not forget, and humanity's reputation had grown stronger in her eyes. As night fell, the city lights reflected on the alien vessel above, a silent witness to the day's events. Princess Lyra studied her reports again, acknowledging internally what she could not yet say aloud. Humans were formidable, not in ways she had expected, but in ways that truly mattered. Jason looked up at the ship from below, aware of the eyes watching him. Humans had faced another challenge and had succeeded through intelligence, courage, and resilience. The princess had seen it firsthand. Humanity had proved its worth not through brute strength but through qualities that were enduring and profound. The duel had ended, but its impact resonated deeply. Humans had shown that they could match expectation with innovation, weakness with courage, and intimidation with integrity. Princess Lyra's assumptions had been shattered, replaced by respect, curiosity, and a new understanding of what humans were truly capable of. The galaxy beyond remained vast and full of challenges, but humans had proven that they could meet any obstacle with ingenuity, unity, and heart. And somewhere above, Princess Lyra was learning a lesson she would carry for the rest of her life. Underestimating humans was a mistake no one should ever make. The stage was set for the final part of their story. Humanity had earned respect, but the ultimate test, one that would shape interstellar relations for years to come, was yet to come. The sun rose slowly over the city, painting the streets in warm gold. After days of demonstrations, tests, and even battle, the humans had proven themselves time and again. Princess Lyra's pride, once untouchable, had been softened by observation and experience. Yet she remained cautious, aware that one mistake could reveal weaknesses she had not yet seen. Today would be different. Today would show the final measure of humanity's strength. Jason Kane stood in the central plaza, surrounded by his team. There was no fear, no hesitation, only quiet readiness. Humans had faced impossible odds and survived. They had adapted, improvised, and persevered through challenges that aliens had thought insurmountable. Today they would demonstrate not only skill, but character, the true essence of human strength. Lyra descended from her ship, her robes glimmering like liquid silver in the morning sun. She walked with grace, eyes focused on the humans before her. "Today," she said, her voice firm but carrying a hint of curiosity, "we will see if humans are worthy of respect, not just in tests, but in a challenge that reflects reality. This will not be a simulation." Jason met her gaze calmly. "We are ready," he said. His confidence was not in arrogance but in understanding. Humans could endure, adapt, and act with purpose even when the odds were stacked against them. That was the lesson he had carried from every test, every battle, every encounter. The challenge began with a complex scenario devised by Lyra's advisors. The city would face simulated crises, a series of coordinated threats designed to test strategy, teamwork, and resilience. It was meant to overwhelm humans, to see if they could maintain composure and coordination under pressure. The first wave arrived, mechanical drones that moved unpredictably, attacking infrastructure and attempting to isolate civilians. Jason quickly organized his team. "Stay calm. Observe patterns. Protect the people. Adapt," he instructed. Humans moved with precision and coordination, using teamwork to counter the attackers' advantages. Where strength and technology failed them, creativity and strategy succeeded. Lyra observed closely, noting the humans' calm efficiency. They worked together seamlessly, improvising tools from their environment, predicting enemy movements, and guiding civilians to safety. Each human acted not only for themselves but for the group, a concept alien warriors respected but rarely executed with such unity. The second wave tested endurance and decision-making. Energy barriers and shifting platforms created hazards that required split-second judgment. Many humans faltered at first, but they quickly recovered, learning from mistakes and helping one another. One young soldier, trapped momentarily on a floating platform, used a nearby cable to swing to safety while simultaneously redirecting an energy beam toward a hostile drone. Lyra's eyes widened. The human's ingenuity was remarkable. The third wave was unexpected. an ambush by rogue drones attacking simultaneously from multiple directions. Humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched in raw technology. Yet they did not panic. Jason directed them with calm authority, using obstacles to their advantage, coordinating diversions, and adapting strategies in real time. Even civilians participated, guided by soldiers to perform simple but effective tasks that contributed to defense. Lyra could no longer dismiss what she saw. Humans were not weak. They were unpredictable in ways her civilization had rarely encountered, clever in ways that challenged even the most advanced algorithms, and courageous in ways that inspired awe. She had mocked them as fragile, but now she understood their true power: adaptability, ingenuity, courage, and unity. At a critical moment, a large energy conduit threatened to collapse, endangering both civilians and soldiers. Jason acted without hesitation, organizing a group to stabilize the conduit using improvised supports and energy shields. The group worked in unison, saving lives and maintaining defensive positions. Lyra watched in silent amazement. Humans faced imminent danger with fearlessness and creativity, qualities that her people revered but rarely exhibited so consistently. After hours of continuous challenges, the humans had not only survived, they had led the city's defense, protected lives, and demonstrated qualities far beyond what technology or strength alone could achieve. Lyra descended from her observation deck to stand before Jason and his team. Her violet eyes held a mixture of respect and awe. "You have proven yourselves," she said, her voice firm but sincere. "I came expecting to see weakness, yet I have witnessed something extraordinary. Strength is not always measured by power or advanced technology. Humans possess courage, intelligence, adaptability, and unity. These are qualities that even my civilization must admire." Jason nodded, his expression calm but proud. "We are not the strongest physically, and we may not have the most advanced technology, but we endure, we adapt, and we protect each other. That is what makes us strong." Lyra studied him silently, then turned to the humans around him. "Your actions have changed my perception. I now see that humans are not weak. You are resilient, clever, and honorable. I underestimated you, and I will not make that mistake again." The city's citizens, who had watched the events unfold from a distance, erupted in quiet celebration. The humans had not only defended themselves, they had earned recognition from one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Children and adults alike saw the proof that courage, ingenuity, and unity could overcome even the most formidable challenges. Jason walked among his team, offering quiet praise. "You adapted. You protected each other. You stayed calm under pressure. That is the true measure of strength," he said. The team nodded, tired but proud, knowing they had represented humanity in the most extraordinary way. Lyra, meanwhile, reflected privately. She had mocked humans as weak, believing that her advanced technology and inherent strength would dominate. Instead, she had observed a species capable of remarkable courage, creativity, and leadership under pressure. Her assumptions had been shattered, replaced by respect and understanding. She approached Jason once more, her expression serious but open. "You have shown me that strength comes in many forms," she said. "Humans possess qualities that are rare and valuable. Your courage and ingenuity are extraordinary. I will carry this understanding back to my people." Jason offered a small smile. "We may not always be the strongest, but we endure. We adapt and we care for each other. That is how humans survive and thrive no matter the challenge." The princess nodded, a subtle but genuine acknowledgement. In that moment, humanity's reputation had been transformed in the eyes of a civilization that once dismissed them. Respect had been earned not through intimidation or force, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. As night fell, the city's lights reflected on the alien vessel above, a symbol of observation and new understanding. Humans had faced challenges, both expected and unexpected, and had proven themselves in ways that could not be ignored. Princess Lyra had come to mock and belittle, but she left with respect and admiration. Jason looked up at the ship, aware that this moment marked more than just a personal triumph. It marked a turning point for humanity. Aliens who once dismissed humans as weak would now reconsider their assumptions. Humanity's ingenuity, courage, and resilience were no longer theoretical. They had been demonstrated under pressure, in real situations and with consequences that mattered. Lyra spent the night reviewing reports, her mind alive with new insights. She had underestimated humans before, but that mistake would not happen again. Their strength was not just physical, nor was it only technological. It was something deeper, a combination of courage, intelligence, and heart. These were qualities that could challenge any expectation, survive any adversity, and inspire respect across the galaxy. Jason returned to his quarters, confident yet humble. Humans had faced impossible odds, adapted in the face of danger, and shown qualities that aliens both admired and feared. The princess had witnessed it firsthand, and humanity's reputation had grown stronger because of it. In the quiet of the night, above the city, the alien ship glimmered like a sentinel of change. Princess Lyra had learned an unforgettable lesson. Underestimating humans was a mistake no one should ever make. Their courage, creativity, and unity had shattered her assumptions, and she would carry that understanding forward. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and wonders, but humanity had shown that it could meet them all, not through brute force but through intelligence, adaptability, courage, and honor. Jason Kane and his team had proven that humans were a species to be respected, admired, and never underestimated. As the stars appeared above, Lyra looked down at Earth with newfound understanding. The humans she had once mocked were extraordinary. Their strength was not just in body or technology, but in spirit. And from this day forward, the galaxy would know that humanity could rise to any challenge, endure any test, and inspire respect in even the most advanced civilizations. Humanity had faced doubt, mockery, and danger and emerged victorious. The story of courage, ingenuity, and resilience would be remembered across worlds. And Princess Lyra, once a skeptic, now saw humans not as weak, but as extraordinary beings capable of remarkable feats. The sun set slowly, casting golden light over a city that had witnessed the triumph of its people, humans.